comrades, and thank you to Drape the Drones for organising this wonderful and colourful event today on this International Day of Peace. And thanks for inviting me to come and speak to you on behalf of the Green Party. I'm from Pembrokeshire Green Party, which we've just set up down the road. Happy equinox to those of you who celebrate it. And may I just say it's very inspiring to see that so many people out here in West Wales and beyond care so deeply about the despicable state of affairs that the military-industrial complex, the war machine, has led us to the point that you've come out here today and given up your Sunday to make a stand against this particularly inhumane technology, which is UAVs or drones. A technology that is increasingly taking larger roles in modern warfare. At the Green Party, we are ideologically and diametrically opposed to the West's addiction to war and in full support of this campaign and CND Cymru. In the British mainstream media, we hear so much about threats of terror. We're constantly bombarded with divisive anti-Islamic rhetoric designed to make us feel divided, yet proud and patriotic of our United Kingdom. People argue that our loved ones are sent over to Iraq and Afghanistan to fight for our freedom and democracy, and that drones are an essential step towards making this battleground safer for our troops. What we don't hear in the media, what they fail to inform us about, are the real motivators behind these wars. How the West's addiction to oil and minerals is driving and perpetuating this onslaught against the Earth's resources and humanity itself. Not in fact driven by freedom or democracy. Quite the opposite. These wars are driven by profit, by banks, by the huge international arms trade and multinational companies engaged solely in the exploitation of people and resources across the globe. The media certainly doesn't mention the vast environmental impact that just the very act of preparation for war has on our planet. As if this wasn't bad enough, we have the politicians to deal with too. In the West, here in the UK, the last few decades have seen us avalanche into neoliberalism and crony capitalism. The very people who are supposedly elected to represent us and represent our views are actually the people signing the checks and oiling the wheels for the arms dealers, the multi-billion-pound tax dodgers who profit so much from perpetuating and orchestrating these illegal wars. Yeah. Just one example of this. Of the billions of pounds of our taxes given to private companies for rebuilding contracts in Iraq and Afghanistan since 2003, not one school or hospital has been built in Afghanistan or Iraq, not one. But to compound this, as John Pilger writes, 300 tons of depleted uranium were rained into Iraq from US and UK military aircraft during the last Gulf War. The Iraqi population are now suffering a cancer epidemic. In the Basra area, where the Rumaila oil field is located, they say that depleted uranium blows in the sand. Where once 2 to 3 cancer patients are reported per month, there are now 30 to 35 cancer deaths each month. Just as happened in Hiroshima after the atom bomb, there has been a sudden increase of congenital malformations. Nearly half the people in these areas can now expect to get cancer. Yet the roads got built and the infrastructure was put in place so that BP can continue to pump out the oil from the Rumaila oil field, which is soon to become the second largest producing oil field on the planet. Drone warfare surely embodies the epitome of this modern age of organised war for profit. Youngsters have been brought up on a diet of PlayStation and Xbox and now sit in control centres in the east of England, destroying blobs on screens. Yet these blobs on screens are human beings, women, children, farmers, and even quite commonly first responders. Just as we've seen in Gaza recently, with the UK, US-backed murder of Palestinians, they launch a missile attack. They launch a missile attack. They wait for the ambulance drivers and first responders, and then they send in another one. The US and the UK are not only complicit in this slaughter in Gaza, they have their top military men sitting in on Israeli command centres, giving them front row seat to this testing of their new toys and scientific innovations. Whether they're buying or selling, this technological and clinical murder of Palestinians is effectively the shopping channel for these profiteering cultivators of war. When Israeli arms dealers come to London for the arms fairs, they boast that their weapons are battle tested, meaning literally that they have been tested out on unarmed civilians in Gaza. So with all the UK government support of this, it comes as no surprise that the UK is the second biggest global exporter of arms after, unsurprisingly, the US. Sadly, the environmental implications of this false addiction to war and oil are far-reaching too. In Canada, they're destroying swathes of natural forest, displacing many thousands of people in order to extract oil from the tar sands, a procedure that uses 1 barrel of oil to produce just 2. In the US, fracking has already caused untold damage to people's water supplies and air quality. All the evidence suggests that fracking is completely unsafe now, let alone in years to come, when the wells degrade and allow highly toxic chemicals into the aquifers to pollute our water supply. But they're planning thousands of fracking wells here in the UK. And the politicians have been put in place to regulate fracking here. I'm just cozying up with the fracking companies, and the owners and directors of the fracking companies too. This all makes for grim reading, and I do apologise if I've just thoroughly depressed you. But I am sure that you've come here today because you want change, want a positive, peaceful future, and like us at the Green Party and those at CND Cymru, you'll not stop until you get it. Just like 45% of the Scottish, people are waking up to the realities of those who seek to exploit them, rather than allowing this minority ruling class of disaster capitalists to profit from their real-life war games, whilst orchestrating austerity for the rest of us with all our safety nets removed. We could be building a better future for all beings on this planet, and a future where no one lives in poverty or scrapes by on poverty wages. Rather than profiteering from the development of technologies designed to murder people by remote control, we could expand the technology of renewables. Just here in Wales alone, we have a surplus of potential wave and wind. Why not invest in that? Rather than deliberately causing, funding and creating instability in the Middle East for oil and profit, we could be nurturing stability and peace. We could scrap Trident and set an example to the rest of the world that our future, our children's future, cannot be based on fear and threat of catastrophic war. We can build a future based on peace and unity, and on solidarity with our brothers and sisters from whatever piece of this earth they happen to inhabit. We can start to build a future where the success of humanity is not measured by how much money can be made from exploiting and murdering our neighbours in a free market environment that benefits just the few, but a future where the success of humanity is measured on how well we look after one another and how well we protect the planet that we live and rely on. Thank you.